Hey there, so today we have another review. This is a beer courtesy of McMahon, thank you so much. This is their Double Mountain Nelson. Double Mountain Nelson? Okay, let's go with that. They're out of Oakland. Oakland? Huh. Anyway, Hazy West Coast Double IPA. So it's been quite a while. Oh, 100% Nelson hopped, yeah. So, been a while since I've had Cellarmaker. Yeah, I knew they're in the San Fran / Orlando kind of area. And I'm curious what a hazy West Coast IPA means. Definitely in my history of reviewing all these beers, there's definitely a lot of beers, or reviewed a good amount of beers that sort of, in my mind, sort of have this West Coast / New England hazy kind of like balance, where it's not completely hazy, but then has some bitterness of a West Coast IPA, but then like, playing some mixy matchy kind of characteristics. Wow, this one's fresh, yeah. He sent this to me probably a week fresh. This is literally 2 weeks fresh. Wow, from canning. So sweet. Yeah, this ain't nothing. I mean, the beer's going to be the beer. There's giving you no age issues here. So, beer comes in, looks like a hazy IPA. Not completely milky. Comes in a light to medium gold color, a little bit of like orange hue to it. Medium plus haze, not completely opaque, right? I can sort of see the shadow of my finger through the light. So, wow. That's great. Diesely dank. Nelson for days, big salt blonde character. But for me, I would have guessed, wow. I would have guessed that this beer had more going on. It seems like it almost has like Citra, Galaxy, and some other hops in there. Full blind, I would have had a hard time guessing that this was just straight Nelson. It does have all those pretty thiol heavy notes. Those, again, Sauvignon Blanc. If you guys don't know what I mean, grab a really nice bottle of, not really nice, they're generally pretty cheap, but you get a pretty quality bottle of New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc for like $10, $15. But it's easily, but then underneath that is also big tropical fruits. Like, again, I would have guessed Citra and Galaxy or something like that in here. Big juicy oranges, ripe pineapple, mango for sure. Oh yeah, I mean, it's intoxicating. So it's thiol and juicy. This smells like an awesome New Zealand hazy IPA. So we'll see where the West Coast comes in on the palate. We'll see. Ah, that is good. Boy, it's been a minute since I had a Cellarmaker, man. Oh, so up front, the initial flavor is just so I was smelling. There's this kind of like dirty diesely thing going on. Very thiol heavy. Sometimes, again, the thiols for me express a little bit differently sometimes. And here it's what is it? It's like definitely some of that salt blanc character, but then the beer is also just very like dirty, in a good way. It has this rich kind of soily character that I get from Headhunter, also some of the West Coast IPA beers. Again, I call it like brownish, blackish, like pot soil and just dirt, right? It has this kind of like base tone, kind of bitterness and base tone, soily, dirty thing going on, which is quite nice. Which plays into the bitterness. Mouthfeel is nice and luxurious, creamy. You get a nice kind of light biscuity malt in the middle. Wonderful texture here, and then follows with the nose, big juicy pineapple, mangoes, rich citrus. Again, full blind, I would have guessed this was a Citra Nelson beer. Yeah. I just for sure would have guessed there was Citra in here. Oh man, ripe pineapples, big juicy flavor. I'm not quite sure where the West Coast comes in. This beer is really not that bitter. Definitely shows a little bit more bitterness than most modern hazy IPAs. Also lacking in that kind of like polyphenol, chalky, blah blah blah. You know what newer hazy IPAs can be doing these days. The beer certainly has some bitterness, like medium, maybe medium plus at worst, at most. Wonderful texture. I love the complexity. It has that high note of that diesely dank and a little bit of like white grape character. But so what I associate with Nelson sometimes it can be very focused and singular on the thiols. It can be very I call it like white or green flavor, as in you think of white grapes. I guess white grapes are green, but that sort of throws you in the realm of fruits of like maybe a little bit of pear. sometimes you can get, no, probably not green bell pepper, but lychee, longan, pear, white peaches, white grape, blah, 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 blah. Here, there is not only the green and yellow, the white and green, but also the orange and yellow characteristics of ripe fruit, citrus, tropical, blah, blah, blah. Fantastic beer. I'm not really quite sure where the West Coast part comes from it. I mean, it's obviously made in the West Coast, and it has a nice balancing dryness after that creamy texture up front and some bitterness. So I'd probably say it's like 3/4 hazy IPA, 1/4 West Coast, if I had to like make the divide. It's definitely not a 50-50 beer. This beer is mostly a very tasty hazy Nelson Sauvin double IPA. Very good. Very, very, very good. What did I do, guys? What did I do? What did I do? I'll be right back. Makes a lot of sense to put the bell out of reach when I do the reviews here. Anyway, 96, absolutely fantastic. Thank you, my guy McMahon. That is a really good hazy IPA. Cheers.